Good everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome to another episode of 10 p.m. University. So today's topic is very special to my heart because I've been affected by it at one stage in my life. And the reason why I chose this topic today is so that I want you guys to think about it before going to bed. So today's topic is the stigma around mental illness. As you know, right, you might have met different people in your life, or maybe someone close to you, your heart, or your loved ones, or whoever might have suffered with mental illness, or you know currently someone who's going through it. But in spite of that, right, you might have noticed that the world we live in, we are surrounded by a stigma around mental health. It's not very common for us to go and talk to any person around mental illness, right? Like we talk about diabetes or cancer even, or we talk about kidney stone, or for instance, or you talk about blood pressure, right? So we have a stigma around mental illness, right? And I just wanted to touch on this topic. I'm sorry, I don't want to create any controversy. I don't want to offend anyone, but I want to educate people around the planet about the mental illness, right? Because this is reality, what people go through day-to-day life, right? So before we dive into more detail about mental illness, I just wanted to talk about the different types of mental illness. There are many, but I would like to mention a few of them, which is very common. The number one is depression. And then we have bipolar disorder, we have anxiety and panic attack, and we have personal disorders, and we have psychosis, right? These are very common. There are other things as well. So, and one thing before I dive further, that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical expert. I'm getting this data out of the research done by different health professionals out there. So I collected this data and just wanted to share with you, right? And this is not a medical advice, right? This is just an information, so that, we have an awareness around mental health, right? So I'm fortunate that I live in a country, New Zealand. We talk about this stuff here, and people are not very, wary or wacky about when you talk about mental illness. That being said, there are some stigma around, so I just wanted to cover that. Right, so according to World Health Organization data, right, you will be surprised to know mental illness affects, right, 1 in 4 people. That's pretty much like 20% of the global population. Think about it. 20% of the global population has been through this stage or had mental illness one point of time. Could be depression, could be anxiety, or could be panic attack. But in spite of that, right, we don't talk about it. No one likes to talk about it. There is a stereotype around people who struggle with mental illness. There are a lot of things around that, right? And there are a lot of reasons why people don't want to talk about it. Like maybe your coworker maybe have some issues, they don't want to come and talk to you about it, or maybe your loved ones might have gone through something, they're a bit hesitant to talk about it, right? They don't want to talk about, let's say, let me give you a very classic example, right? Let's say you are working in a software development company. A very simple example, because I work in a software development, so that's why I like to give software development experience. You can relate to whatever industry you are in, right? Okay, so let's say you are working on a project, right? Very critical project, and for some reason you can't deliver because of a health reason, right? So now, let's say you got a kidney stone, right? And you call your boss in the morning, look, boss, I can't deliver this, unfortunately, because I struggle with kidney pain. I'm in so much of pain, right? And please, so I can't deliver. Your boss will say, all right, that's fine. But at the same time, imagine you've been diagnosed with schizophrenia or something else. Would you be comfortable telling your boss, right? Look, I'm diagnosed with schizophrenia. I mean, you won't be. I mean, most of the time people won't be. That should not be the case, right? Why is that we differentiate someone who suffers with schizophrenia? Why can't we treat it like a normal physical illness, right? And you suffer with cancer, right? You don't hesitate to talk. Look, I suffer with cancer, so I need a treatment. But at the same way, why is that people has to suffer, right? You know the reason why? Why there's a stigma? The number one reason is the lack of awareness. People are not sure about it, right? And they don't know what to do with it, because I mean, I understand that, some societies, some culture, there is a stigma around it, right? Because of cultural reason or whatever. But let's say, let me give you a very classic example. We live in New Zealand, right? I live in New Zealand, right? Greatest country on this planet. That's how I treat it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend anyone. That's how I consider New Zealand the most beautiful place on this planet, on this earth, right? Okay, so we in this country we talk about mental illness, but still, if you're going to tell to your mate, look, I'm feeling unwell, and the first thing will be, you all right, buddy? What's going on, right? When you say, look, I'm suffering with schizophrenia, I mean, a person will take a step back, because it's not because that person has any bad intention towards you. Not at all. It's just that person sometimes don't know how to respond, right? Because if someone comes to me and says, look, I struggle with bipolar disorder, I honestly don't know how to respond to that, because it's not that I hate that person, or I mean I mean bad for that person. I honestly wish very good for that person, but at the same time, I honestly don't know, because I'm not trained enough to handle the situation like that, because we don't talk about it, right? There is no mental awareness campaign in UN going on. No one talks about, we have that AIDS Foundation, we have, we talk about COVID-19, right? People talk about, okay, let's build a vaccine. Every country's around, let's build a vaccine, which is great, right? We are talking about health. Well, why not anybody in this planet talking about, let's build a campaign for mental health. Let's build a campaign for depression. Let's build a campaign for, attention disorder. Let's build a campaign for schizophrenia. Why is that? You don't find this kind of campaign or moment going on. We have a climate change moment everywhere going on, right? Which is great, but why not nobody protesting around mental health? We need to talk about mental health, because that's how the awareness comes in the picture, right? This needs to be taught in the schools, universities. People need to talk about openly in the workplaces. People should not feel uncomfortable, right? We should not be living in a society where we don't know how to handle when someone comes to. If someone says, "Oh, look, I injured my leg. I think there's a bone injury. What do you suggest? Okay, let me call you 111. I will, But if someone says, look, I suffer with, depression. I'm not feeling well. I don't think so. I mean, most of the time we don't know what to say. I mean, someone will say, okay, do you want me to call a doctor, or, but, another thing is a cultural issue, right? In some of the culture, right, when you say, look, I suffer with depression, you know what they're going to say? Oh, I think you're possessed. I mean, like, holy crap, what is that even supposed to mean, you're possessed, right? I mean, that's a cultural issue, and people will say, oh, man, I don't want to talk about it. They will think I'm crazy, right? And some people discriminate even at work, in some culture because of this, and even, some of the thing. I just wanted to tell them about my personal story. I mean, it's very close to my heart. I don't tell this to anybody in general. When I was 18, right, I struggled with depression. A massive depression means I thought my life is worthless, right? It doesn't make any sense to me to be alive on this planet, right? I mean, you reach a stage in a certain point in your life, right, I mean, and then at that time, then I was supposed to go to uni to do my engineering degree. I went to uni with a full depression, I couldn't cope. 6 months down the line, I dropped out, because I said, I can't be bothered. And I don't know what to do to reach out to my parents. My parents were very old fashioned, but traditional. They won't understand. They think this guy's gone crazy. It's maybe because of this teenage issues or whatever. I mean, I can't reach out to my friends because, one of the guy I was with studied with my first semester in engineering. There was a subject called thermodynamics, right? So we were in this. The teacher was talking about thermodynamics. I don't want to go into dynamics of it. Just there was an engineering subject that was in thermodynamics, so I was paying attention to that, and my batchmate. He was a good friend of mine even today. So he told me, look, mate, is there something going on with you? I said, why? He said, you're acting a bit strange. I see that your hands are getting sweaty. Your legs are moving faster. What's going on? I said, well, nothing much. He said, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And fast forward 6 months, I decided to drop out because I said, I can't cope. I can't focus. I'm feeling depressed all the time. I don't know who to reach out. So this is what I felt if I wanted to reach out to my parents. They're going to blame me. Oh, yeah, you don't want to do anything in your life. You're just going to be a lazy brat. You just don't want to, waste our money. Why don't you, get out of our house? I just felt completely helpless. These are the things many people in the world go through. It shouldn't be the case, Fortunately, I managed to reach out to my dad. And my dad said, look, son, okay, you should have reached out to me earlier, right? My dad, it just I don't know how to express, but this story, I mean, if you're someone who up there who relates to a similar story, I just wanted to uh, tell you that, it happens, right? It's just, you need to reach out to somebody, right? Because, I've been able to, get the treatment, and fortunately 2 years later, I'm fine, Now it's been years, so I never had any depression, fortunately. I mean, it just, things works out very well, right? Because I've been managed to get the treatment on time, right? And because it was a mild depression, and the doctor said, it's just because a lot of stress, because I've been getting hammered with stress and stress and stress and stress, and the things was falling apart for me. I just thought I was just gonna give up. So it happens in life, right? So if you are someone out there, I just must advise to you, don't lose heart. Please reach out to someone who you trust the most, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you will be fine. Just reach out to someone, right? This is only my advice out there, right? Okay. Now, what happens if we ignore people, right? Who suffer from depression, anxiety, right? There is a big consequences as a society we pay, right? The number one is anger. People get extremely angry, right? They say, no one wants to listen to me. No one give a damn about me. I don't give a S about the world. I don't care. Fortunately in New Zealand, we don't have much gun related issue, but in some society, you have noticed that, a kid going to university and rampage, doing a rampage with, automatic weapon, right? And what people don't understand, right? Not everyone wants to do that. Not everyone wants to, hurt somebody. It's just because some of them are going through so much of pain inside. They feel rejected. I'm not justifying anything these people doing. Please don't take it as justification. I'm not justifying absolutely anything. What I'm saying that the consequences as a society we have to go through when we ignore people with, different issues in the world, right? And I'm not even saying that those people have this kind of things. The people who are shooting have a mental illness or not. I'm just saying an example that can happen, right? If someone goes through the mental illness, someone being ignored most of their life by saying, oh, look, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's not the case. You won't be fine without receiving a medical treatment. We have advanced so much in medical science, right? Compared to what we were in 1900. So why is that people can't reach out and get a proper health, tested and proper medication, right? People can be healed with proper If you have a heart related issue, right? You go and see a cardiologist, right? You won't say, oh look, I'm ashamed to see that. Why? We don't do that, right? So same way, anger. So this is what I'm saying. Person gets super angry, super angry, super angry, and it'll burst out somehow, right? And this should not be the case. And another one I wanted to talk about is constant suffering, right? They suffer, they constantly suffer. They have this feeling, right? I've been through this, so I'm telling you from my experience. I've been suffering inside like, oh, look, no one wants to listen to me. I was like, who can I reach out? Is there anybody on this planet who can help me? I reached to the point where I said, look, I don't think my life means anything. It's absolutely mean nothing to me. Even if I drop dead, it doesn't mean anything to anybody. I mean, a person shouldn't be feeling that, right? If someone feels that, I'm saying person should reach out, right? If you're someone out there, if you're listening to me today, I would suggest you please reach out. If you're a parent or see your kid is doing a bad reaction, please reach out to them. Please talk to them, right? Look, what's going on? Please don't hold back. Because holding back, you're gonna pay the price if you hold back one day. I'm telling from my own personal experience. I've lost one of someone very close to me. So, all right, let's move on. The next one is isolation, right? People feel very isolated. Well, this is normal, right? I mean, you are suffering from, something going on in your life. You feel isolated, right? This shouldn't be the case, right? So, yeah. So, yeah, these are the consequences as a society we pay. Now, do we have any solution for it, right? Now, yes, of course there's a solution, right? Awareness. We need to make sure people are aware about mental illness, right? This is not a topic about, eating a hot dog and forget about it. No, it's not that. We need to have a awareness. We need people to have awareness about it, right? We need people to talk about it. I'll be honest with you. I'm fortunate that I work in a company where I can reach out to people. I can reach out to my leaders. They're very helpful. We support each other. That's why I said I'm fortunate. I live in New Zealand, right? I mean, you can be in Sweden, you can be in Ukraine, you can be in Romania, you can be in United States, you can be in England, Scotland, wherever you are. I'm pretty sure there are people out there who want us to help you. But it's very important that we make people aware about mental illness, and we need to get out of the stigma, right? Because if you are shy to talk about, right, then there is no way we can solve this problem, right, about mental illness, right? Because we have to treat it like a normal illness, right? That's how I wanted to say. I mean, because there are doctors out there, there are psychiatrists out there who are willing to help, but if you don't go to them, if you don't tell them, then how would they even help you, right? There are qualified people out there. They're experts in the field of medical science, neuroscience, right? Who have done a lot of tremendous programs. Now even artificial intelligence has came into picture, right? Which can help you with the data and kind of stuff, right? So life is getting better, and as the life expectancy is increasing over the course of time, we just need to understand one thing, right? It is okay that if you're feeling depressed, it's okay if there is a problem that needs to be addressed. Please reach out. If you're not comfortable, you can go to doctor directly, right? I mean, doctors are there always to help, right? Yeah, so that's being said, that's all I wanted to talk about today, guys. I hope I gave you something to think about it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, bring about certain things. I just wanted to, the reason why I brought the personal touch to it, because it has affected me as a person, when I was younger. And I'm a better person now. I'm pretty strong, and, I mean, I did pretty well in my life, and people know me. They can talk about it. I'm a very happy man. So things are going well. So fortunately, right. So I hope I gave you something to think about it tonight. And before I go to sleep, please think about it. If you have any kind of stigma, just think of a second for a while. What will happen if you go through that same stage that other person going on? Will you be comfortable with everyone ignores you, don't care about it, right? I mean, I know it's a very difficult topic to talk about. It's very difficult for me to make a video about it today, right? That's all I wanted to talk, guys. I hope you find some value today from this session, right? If you like my Instagram, there's my ID. And if you like to subscribe, please subscribe. As I always say, the reason behind I started this 10 p.m. University is to empower people, to educate people, to create awareness among the people, so that we can move forward as a greater race, and as a greater society, right? So that's all for today. Greetings from New Zealand. Adios.